finally said, go on, you little whiny thing. Just take your path and go on. I'm angry, what the Bible said. God was angry for him taking off. But don't this line up with where we've been talking about in Luke 18, verse 1 through 8, the scriptures that we use many times of the woman that went before the unrighteous judge and begged and begged and begged till he finally moved? But then what is the answer that Christ gave clearly in verse 8? Shall the Son of Man return to faith, with a question mark? Asking that we're going to keep begging for our ways. We're going to keep rebuking because we see it. We want it to go this way. We desire it to go this way. Or we think God's going to do things this way. So we want a different path. Or we want a different direction. Or we rebel against these things that God is asking of us to do. And then we turn away from what God wants. Balaam was told clearly, don't go. God's told him. And it says he told him clearly, I do not want you to go against my blessed people. But he went. And it had to be that, the ass even tried to tell him. An animal tried to tell this man that you're missing it. You're missing it. But he done everything to hit this animal and come against every vision and everything that's before his eyes. Telling him, look out. Or look at the signs. Look what's going on. And then so much of an amazing sign that an ass spoke to him. And he talks back and don't even realize, my God, this must be God. How can an animal be speaking to me? This man was so tied up in what he wanted to do and the path that he wanted to make, rebuking against God, saying don't go, that he couldn't even recognize the miracles of God before his eyes. Until God opened up his eyes and he seen the angel. And he realized he messed up. Realized that, hey, I shouldn't have went. Do you want me to go back? No, you done came on. I'm still going to use you for my glory. I'm still going to use you. But you got to obey me. You go on down, but you got to obey me. Well, it's the same thing I think that God is saying about our church and the people of our church. We are a blessed high church, people, but the church is not the building, it's us. And we've got the callings upon our life that I think that maybe we have questioned, or directions that God has got along our past, that somewhere He has given us a sign, and right now He's given us signs, and are we rebuking against them? Even though the ass is turning away from us, even though the ass may be speaking to us, we are not even recognizing the power of God being used before us. We're not even recognizing it. That the things that He has done over the past few months blows my mind. Of how it exactly unfolded the way He told us it was going to unfold. That how He was going to bring the numbers. The numbers appeared exactly like He said. It did exactly the way He said. Not a word said. One of the ministers told me, even confirmed, this will, if it is God, don't say a word, and these things, it'll just happen. And it did. It came unfolded right before our eyes. 40-day run you're going to go through. And at the end of that 40-day run, you're going to be the change in the church. You're going to have to change directions. Said many enemies would come against us, and many things would come against us, but you got to stick to know that there's power in my name. And you've got to know that all things will work together for good. But are we rebuking against the ass that's trying to tell us, hey, look where you're at. Look what you're doing. Are we being the whiny child like the woman to the unjust judge that begged and pleaded for God to do it another way? Peter, who knew it was Christ, and we know it's God, we know it's Christ, but then turned around and rebuked what he said, knowing it was the pure truth and nothing but the truth, when he said, thou savorest what man wants and not God? Are we savoring what we want and the direction we want instead of what God wants? And we're getting every sign and everything telling us, hey, what are you going to do here? I've tried to turn you. I've tried to do everything. I've tried to speak to you. I've showed you signs. I've showed you wonders. I've spoke to you at night. I've spoke to you through ministries. I've spoke to you through many things. But you keep following that path and keep asking me what to do. How many times am I going to have to tell you what to do? You know what to do. You know what situations I brought to you. You know to enter my gates with praise and thanksgiving. You know this is a house of worship. You should be coming in to worship me no matter what kind of day you have. You should be coming in to uplift me no matter what kind of day you have. You don't need me to tell you that because my Word clearly tells you this. And these are the things that we got to recognize if we're going to go forward. Love one another and start taking hold. Become one accord and one mind. Do what I tell you to do, but don't rebel and don't rebuke what I'm telling you, thinking it's going to come a certain way. Some of you may be waiting on a sign of something or a situation like the brother said. Give me a sign, Lord. And He's giving you signs. He's told you what to do. He's confirmed it to you. But we have rebelled or we've rebuked or we've turned and everything. And you want to know why? He told you right here in His testimony that you ain't going to find peace. You're not going to find joy until you get directly in the center, that straight line will of God. That straight's what He said. Straight is the way. Broad is the way to destruction. And the ass is trying to tell you. It may be heading over the field and you're saying, what am I doing over here? And what am I doing here? Crushed your foot, fell down because an angel is trying to guide you or something. And keep saying, what are you doing over here? You know what God wants you to do. You know what He desires from you. He desires from you to worship Him and to pray and seek His face every day. To obey Him and say, Lord, what do you got for me today? Not what I want to do, but Lord, what you want me to do. Just like this brother was talking about. That's why I said his testimony lines up with what God was saying tonight. And what He's telling us as a body. I'm not going around that mountain no more. And we'll show you in the Scriptures what God has to say. It's time to turn. It's time to figure out. It's time to grab hold and get on this path because the angels and me have been trying to tell you repeatedly what to do. We have showed you sign and we've showed you wonder. We've spoke to you. We've done everything we can. But why do you continue to ask me what to do? Is saying the Lord. Why do you continue to come forward and continue to ask me these things and continue to come forward? You know what to do. You know how to fight. He said, I've taught you all these things over the past 3.5 years. What went wrong with the church world and how to beat it. Why ain't you using it? Use what I've told you to use. Fight Satan. He called us to an all-out war. Why are you not fighting him with everything in you? Why are you not using the power of Jesus? Demons trembled at Jesus and begged for mercy. And we're not using that power that's inside of us against these thoughts and against these things that's bringing us down. That we will not get into the path of God. And we will not worship Him with our whole heart because these things are occupying our heart. They're occupying our mind. They're just overrunning us. And we cannot overcome it until we get in the will of God. And you have an angel standing before you, I believe, saying, what will it take? What will it take to show you that I've laid this foundation? What will it take to show you that you're the called people? Can you not see the planets lining up? Can you not recognize my word that has been preached to you for 3.5 years, that it lines up exactly with the way I said it would go? It did not come the way you thought it would. And that's what Peter's seen. Lord, it can't be that way that you're going to die. It cannot be. Oh, I rebuke you, Lord. It cannot be. But what are we doing? That we're saying, well, it can't be, Lord. It can't go that way. God's ways is not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. And He knows what He's doing. And He's begging us to take hold of this. He's begging us to grab hold of this. And start entering these gates with praise and thanksgiving. No matter if we don't have our musicians tonight. Y'all done a wonderful job of singing and uplifting God. It's time that we start lifting Him up together and worshiping Him for what He done for us. I'm telling you tonight, and I know, family, you're hurting over here for a lost loved one, but if it wasn't for Him, she wouldn't be in heaven tonight. She wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Him. And when we're going to grab hold of this, the foundation's laid. It's time. It's time, people, is what the Lord's saying. It's time to grab hold of this. I've told you and I've told you. I've tried to turn you and I've tried to turn you. When are you going to get on that path? Is what the Lord is saying. Don't be a Balaam and don't keep asking. Don't make me have to pull an angel with a sword on you. Don't make me have to cut you down. Don't make me do it. Get aboard and get on the path